Sharks. Uh, sharks. 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 And he came on his own, walking. He's swimming to me directly. Oh my God! You should dive with sharks. You're crazy. I'm like, guys.
Today, we have a very special guest. We have a photographer who started a hashtag to explore his rich, diverse, and unique country. You cannot miss his very unique photos, either they are aerial drone photos or underwater photos with the sharks. We have a talented photographer and roaming adventurer whose camera never leaves his side. Either he's diving under the sea, he's climbing a mountain, or he's exploring the desert. Today, we have the great Taimour Othman, commercial lifestyle and travel photographer from Egypt. Taimour, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Mina, for having me. Frankly, it's an honor.
We are very honored to have you today in the Photopian Shots podcast. So let me start. I know that you started with a Nokia phone, taking some photos. Then you moved on to being a creative leader in the branding field by weekdays, a rescue diver by weekends, a photographer and droner all the time. So,
Yes.
how did this transition happen?
Uh, well, it started in the early years. My dad used to have cameras all the time, so I was exposed to very few, very few cameras along the way. I always like to take very different shots and angles and explore things from that manner, yani. And then when I started my moving on in my life and going to the university and all that, the love to show people the experiences I get to explore became my driver. You know, since I was born, we're a family that travels everywhere. My father used to go to Marsa Alam and Hamata, which is 800 kilometers south of Cairo, by the Red Sea coast, on his own. He used to go there and camp with his friends. So we have this gene, this explorer gene in the family. When I started roaming around, when I was old enough to be able to get a car and drive to these remote areas, I started to see things that people wouldn't see. That my friend used to say, "We're going to this country to do this activity." I'm like, "Guys, did you try Marsa Alam?" No, but we're still going. Okay, go. So I started going out and going to these places and starting with my Nokia phone and then tuck, snap here, snap there, post a picture, and guys, this is Egypt. The driver came from that. The normal path of development that starts with the activities and experiences you do. That made me start from a Nokia smartphone, or actually from a Kodak semi-professional camera to the smartphone, and then from the smartphone to DSLRs and underwater housing and GoPros and everything.
Perfect. So, Taimour, what were the main challenges that you faced when you started beginning or when you started going deeper into the photography career, and how did you manage to overcome them?
Wow. Um, what I can say, in Alhamdulillah, all the problems or the boundaries that I faced in Egypt, because this is where I developed most of my photography career, weren't boundaries per se. We have exposure. We have very good photographers that offer help. We have very big names that are eager to let everybody learn. You know, the only problem or the only boundary or the only bumps along the road that I found were when I started underwater photography, because it's something that very, 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 very few Egyptians do it on a professional level, not on a GoPro level, not on a Access Go camera, iPhone housing manner. No, I'm talking DSLRs with flash heads and all that. They were mainly foreigners that used to come to Marsa Shagara, the place, one of my favorite diving spots. Um, so these people were, some of them were very friendly and give you the knowledge you seek to understand more. So it's like, I want to know this about, I want to know that. How can I get my first? Yani I realized when I got my first housing that there were two very important parts that I didn't buy, that caused me a delay till I ordered the part and it came, because I didn't know that you need to have all these parts together to be able to go underwater in the first, as a first step. Uh, but also I need يعني, لا, I didn't find any boundaries, or maybe it's a positivity issue from my side. I don't like to call them boundaries. I don't know. Yani, it's not a boundary. And even when I used to shoot for This Is Egypt, and I didn't have any form of paper, of official paper from the country saying that Taimour Othman shoots for the country. When the police used to stop me, I used to talk my way out very smoothly and take my camera and go. You know the stories about people shooting in Egypt and how it's very tough. If you're flexible and you're smooth, you can easily get your way out of any issue or
Yeah,
any bump.
yeah, understand. So, what advice do you wish that someone would have given you when you started, and this advice you would give to someone who is starting now?
Wow. Okay. The advice that I didn't have, or I didn't get when I was starting, is that I need to explore and I need to try different styles. Because if I knew that I could shoot underwater 10 years ago, probably it would have been a very different ball game. Yani, the development path of my life would have changed drastically. Maybe I could have learned some marine biology, worked on some famous documentaries, the guys like Shark Week and I don't know. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
very. It might come someday, but still,
very soon.
long, inshallah.
So, till today, what is the greatest achievement that you consider you have, either on a professional basis or on a personal basis?
Wow. On a professional level, I think the campaign This Egypt is what I'm mostly proud of. An idea that started as an answer to all the people leaving the country and going places to do the same activity we have in our country, and then after 4 years snowballs into the national campaign of Egypt. I think this is a good achievement on a hobby level, because to me photography still, I consider it as a hobby. Maybe sometimes it's a job, it's a brief, it's a task, it's some content creation form, but to me I do not call myself a full-time photographer. um, from the hobby part, my greatest achievement is This Is Egypt. From my professional side, my greatest achievement is my company, the brand Bees, which I'm very proud of. We started in Egypt. We changed the scene, and we helped brands and people understand more how branding is important, and how branding evolves the business scene on a 360 level. And actually, my career, my business side, and my hobby side, they are both responsible for This Is Egypt, because This Is Egypt from a professional side. It falls under the nation branding platform, which is letting people understand that our nation is not only mummies and pyramids. There's a lot. There's one of the best colorful, most colorful seas around the world. Yani, we proudly can say that we and Raja and Pat are at, at almost the same level with the diversity and the colors and the soft cores and all that. Yani, I think we're in a very good place and people need to know more about that. بس فthat's great achievement.
Yeah, yeah. So you mentioned a couple of times this is Egypt. So just to let people know, this is Egypt is the hashtag that Taimour started, and then it evolved into a huge project, a huge campaign for making people know more about Egypt as a country, exploring more. It's not only mummies and temples; it's more than that. So Taimour, tell us more. How did This Is Egypt start, and what challenges did you face at the beginning, and where is it now?
Yes. Okay. Well, in 2012, it started as I told you, as a response to my friends leaving and going for maybe doing some activities that are in our country, or others that say that Egypt doesn't have a lot of activities, so I'm going to travel to do X, Y, Z. So I started going out places, taking pictures of things, taking pictures of experiences, taking pictures of remote areas that nobody knows about, all of this. And then it started picking up. Some people started writing some articles, some people started helping, some people liked the initiative, so they started posting on the hashtag. And then on the 6th of October 2015, I woke up on like a gazillion phone calls and a million people telling me mabruk, mabruk, mabruk. So I'm like, guys, what happened? So they're like, you didn't see Amr Adib yesterday? So I'm like, no, I didn't. So my friend told me, I'll send you the video. So the video goes like this. The Minister of Tourism tells my name, tells my story, and he tells this guy did this with no support. So I think if we support his idea, we can make it go places, and we will let This Is Egypt become the national campaign of Egypt. So I'm like, it's goosebumps. I get goosebumps still now.
Wow.
بس
Wow.
it evolved يعني on a huge level, on a nationwide level, on a regional level. Um, and it stayed from 2015 to 2018 as the national campaign. Uh, the challenge that I faced was a very weird challenge that I really don't. It's a little bit political what I'm going to say now. I don't like to talk about politics, but since you mentioned the challenge, I'll have to be very transparent with everyone. The challenge I faced was that while we were launching the campaign, we found very negative posting on the hashtag. I know that the topic is for everyone, and I know that my country has a lot of issues like any country. But when we're creating an advertising campaign, we always shoot it in the best manner. We're not neglecting or we're not removing the fact that we have problems. We are just stating that we have a lot that's good. We're not centralizing on a problem. We're talking more generic, and on a more generic level, on an umbrella level. No, we have a very good. We have something that's very powerful. You know, that was a challenge. We faced it on a couple of very well timely mannered campaigns, and we had to fight back because there were some political times that people needed to what's it called, bombard your campaign with negative so that the image is not correctly transmitted.
It was a targeted anti-campaign, just like,
Exactly,
and
exactly.
again, like this campaign, to be very transparent, it was not the platform to discuss the positive and negative. It's a branding
Yes,
campaign to
yes,
help people from all around the world come explore a country. There are
yes.
other platforms where we can discuss the negative and how to
No,
fix them.
no, exactly. Yani I used my social media accounts before to create a massive cleanup, beach cleanup activity only for cigarette butts in Egypt, and it was still my platform. Yani my social media assets I communicated, guys. We all smoke cigarettes. I'm not a smoker. I used to smoke, but when I used to smoke and put it in the sand because to me the logic says, خلاص, it's the cigarette is not a problem. When you used to walk around and play with your hand in the sand, you get like 20 to 30 buds in under 5 minutes. So there is a problem. But again, to each platform, when I'm trying to create an ad, I don't want to be negative because at the end, I'm shooting myself in the foot. I'm not negating the fact that we might have problems, but I'm still trying to work it around.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing this insight about This Is Egypt campaign with us, Taimour. So moving forward, looking into much of your work, you're traveling, doing hikings, diving, like most of it is engagement with the nature. So how did this engagement shape Taimour personality, and what did it teach you as a human and as a photographer?
Oof. Okay. Uh, let's talk first about the photographer because it's a very easy part.
Okay.
And um, w- people need to see to believe. So when you tell them that I went to a peak that's 2,600 meters above sea level, and that was extremely serene and calming for myself, and the challenge changed me, they don't understand until they see the view that could put you in awe. You know. So as a photographer, the area, either it's under the sea or above sea level, showing people that this is something that regular people can do and that I did it. So if I did it, you can do it. It changes how they perceive this thing or how they perceive this activity. So throughout the for the past 5 to 7 years, where I was extensively exploring Egypt, uh, I took a lot of first timers to do a lot of first time activities. You know, I took people camping, I took people diving, and this out of your comfort zone activity shapes that person. So I mean, now I'm moving to the personal side. طبعا engaging with nature on so many levels changed changes the way you look at things. يعني when I dive مثلا, when you dive, you're going into a very untouched by humans environment. يعني the human has no say under the sea in regards to الموضوع ده. فاهم قصدي؟ ف seeing how everything works in a clock in a very good timely manner, and that it's working without the impact of a human being, and it's working perfectly. فاهم؟ It makes you like realize that ايه ده, what are we humans doing so wrong that it's screwing كل ده. يعني you have a beautiful formation of a school that's moving, and then one human comes in and they disperse.
Yeah.
So how did this change me? لا يعني it changed me to become calmer, more appreciative, uh, more understanding of how everything works without the human impact. You know, because I used to see it when we used to go in large groups to a day trip in the Fayum Desert, for example. If you're not with a good guide, they don't clean up well after you leave. So when you look at it, you go to a place and it's untouched by a person, and then you start camping and doing bonfire and doing ta 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 all that, and then when you're leaving, if you look behind you, you see the difference, the disruption of the area. So this is why we always say, even in diving, you take all the memories you want and you leave nothing but bubbles. You know, so it made me realize that even if I want to explore and go to places and all that, I need to respect very much this place, because maybe in 100 or 200 or 300 years, a lot more people should see this as I got to experience it. And it's not just only me. No, even if I'm taking a picture of something, maybe it could be one of the last pictures in that same form, yani, as a preservation of this. For example, which happened once with me, I went to shoot the SS Sissel Gorm right after the, the the revolution, the Egyptian revolution, and then I went 2 years after. It had been damaged. It had been tampered with. Some things inside were taken. Yani, there was very noticeable damage that people did to the wreck, and it's a very famous wreck. It's the third in the top 100 around the world. It's a very famous diving spot to the diving community. So I learned that no, I need to preserve things and not only enjoy them because I did enjoy them. I need to take care of them because maybe generations and generations after me should have the same um, luck or chance as I did to be able to experience this beauty.
Yeah, I fully get your point. So, Taimour, let me ask you, what inspires you to take a specific shot?
Uh, I use I usually go to places that not everybody goes. Not I'm not saying I'm the first. I'm not saying I'm an explorer format like Jimmy Chin or that form of people, but in my circle or my community or my follow base, not everyone can or will have the courage to go to a specific place because they can. It's part of my fulfillment as a creative person and as a photographer to go explore these places. So this is the main drive that I need to show the people what they're missing out on in order to give them the urge or make them feel the need to experience that themselves. I always try to put people in a POV perspective. You know, even when I wake up in the morning, I have this famous shot. It's the coffee mug shot. It's always my hand, and then there's a coffee mug, and then there's a coat. Usually, it's good morning, people. It's nothing fancy, but it's it's that form of view that you see that has a hand and a cup. It puts you in that form of, oh, this is me. So it's very personal. So this is how I try to always approach my content form in that manner. Let's not talk it, to call it photography. It's a content form, maybe in putting people in the feeling that they need to do this.
Yeah, yeah, I fully understand. So, speaking about the shots, what is the most crazy thing you did in order to take a specific shot?
Sharks. Uh,
You
okay,
know, I was about to ask you about sharks in the next question, but since you brought this up,
you asked about the most crazy thing. I'm not going to say I went hiking for 3 days to go to a peak and then there was crazy. No, it's not. It's not that crazy. The most crazy thing I did for a shot was a dive, a very specific dive to a very specific picture. We heard that there's a very active oceanic white tip shark. And how we measure the activity of a shark is by the amount of pilot fish it has around. So we heard that there's this specific shark that has a cloud. Yani, you don't see the shark because there's a cloud of pilot fish behind him. I just want to put something very like a small disclaimer. I'm not a marine biologist. I'm not an expert in sharks. I just love sharks, and I believe that they're very misunderstood. So, if I said anything that's wrong in how we measure the activity, please correct it to me. I would love to learn. So, going back to that, we went. with a couple of friends, and we stayed in that diving place I like very much, and we went to this spot 3 times a day, and this is a lot of money to spend on going to an excursion and on a zodiac for 3D dives every day until this specific dive that was 82 minutes, and 82 minutes in diving is a lot. Uh, we didn't encounter any fish, not bigger than this big, for 72 minutes. And the last 10 minutes were one big episode of BBC's Blue Ocean. Like crazy, a circus. 11 dolphins, 5 sharks, crazy activity. Everyone's going around, tuck, 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 and he's coming
Just in
in
10 minutes.
for 10 minutes.
Just
And then
like
that,
3 days and multiple dives and in 10
and
minutes.
not 3 dives a day for a week. And then this was one dive, one of them. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And then in diving, when there's activity underwater, you go out one by one. So I had to stay until I was the second, and we were two in the water, me and the guide. And then this shot came, and he came on his own, walking, he's swimming to me directly. And then sharks are like dogs. If you're afraid and you run, I think they'll follow you. If you run towards them, they get a little bit scared, and they turn around and leave. So that there was this specific moment that I finned toward him to alienate any noise in the picture, go in with the shark, and then he started turning very slowly, and then you have this shark with the cloud.
Yeah, yeah,
This
perfect.
is the craziest thing.
I think if we go through any previous or coming episodes, this will be the most crazy thing that anyone did to take a shot. Like, photographers say, okay, so you know what? I dropped my camera, or I was waiting for this sunset. No, 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 no. You were not facing a shark face to face. So, Taimour, let me ask you. Now there's this new trend of new artificial intelligence photo editing softwares where you can add clouds, add the sun, like just totally alternate the picture. So, how do you see this trend affecting the photography domain?
Okay, there's a very thin line between artists, photographers, and under photographers, there's fine art photographers and content creators. Because it's if I call myself an artist, I'm allowed to do anything. I'm allowed to put clouds. I'm allowed to put birds. I'm allowed to add reflections, alternate everything. It's what I can do. But photographers, they make the picture as natural as possible. Yani, there's this amazing photographer. I can't recall the name right now. He shoots everything, and he takes the image raw off camera. He doesn't do editing. This is why he's so powerful, because he perfects every aspect of the picture or of the image in on cam. I don't alternate. Because my career, it was before branding was advertising. So when a client didn't have budget, we used to build the scene on Photoshop. So this form of art, or maybe when I grew up, I started calling it a lie. This lie helped me build the Taimour Othman personality that doesn't edit a lot in his images. And if I edit, I say I edited X. You know, uh, editing and photoshopping is, it has a lot of degrees of what's okay and what's not okay. يعني, to me, in fashion, if I'm going to make X or Y or Z thin, or with nice abs, or with a bigger, I don't know how, and smaller, I don't know what. To me, this is lying because you are putting standards or you are putting things that are not achievable to the normal people out there and making other people say why I'm not like this. فدي أول حاجة that's not correct in my eyes. Other people are fine with it. And I'm just talking about my view. And on the other side, when it comes to what I do, I don't use Photoshop because I don't want to say, oh, guys, Taimour, he Photoshops everything. Then this is not true because everything I shoot is as shot, as real as it was shot, you know? Sometimes, and when I say I Photoshop why? Because I came this day and I found the Milky Way here. And then when I came to shoot the other time, I screwed up my timelines and I came in a moon filled night, in a full moon, in a full moon night. So I take the picture before the moonrise and I can add the Milky Way because I saw it there. So I'm recreating something, but it's not exact. And I say I recreated this by adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's not that you are in that place and you didn't see anything and you're just adding a Milky Way from a
Yes,
software or
this is out.
yeah, yeah. I get your point. I get your
Yani,
point.
and I actually did a series of stories before the difference between content creators and artists and digital artists because I can create something that's so beautiful, but I have to mention this image is photoshopped because some people they cannot see. I can see because this is my field of work. I can understand because I've been to that place. I was standing where this X person took this shot, and I know that the stars cannot be in this. You cannot see the stars because there's light pollution, for example. You cannot see this alignment because there is a shift in the alignment of these three things. ف يعني just I'm totally fine. Everyone can do whatever they want, but mention this to other people because some people get really frustrated when they cannot achieve similar results.
Yeah. Be clear, be transparent.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So you mentioned that you did a couple of stories. So I'm not sure if you heard the recent statement of the Instagram head that Instagram is no more a photo sharing app. So this is a statement that's shocking the world of photographers now, and there's discussions. What is the platform? What will they do? So what do you think about this? And what do you see? What would be the platform or the place where photographers can promote their work, inspire others, and get inspired at the same time?
Well, I'm shocked. Yeah, I didn't hear the news. Frankly, I've been in the States for the past 10 days, so I'm not following very much. But to me, it was not just a photo sharing; it's a creative playground. Um, it's a place where all us creators, creatives, regular people challenge each other or play around with each other or learn from each other even uh, share our knowledge or share our experiences or share it's like a visual Facebook.
Inspire and get inspired. Like you inspire
Exactly.
others and you get inspired by others as well.
Exactly. And I think if Instagram mentioned that it's not just a photo sharing platform, then I think they will disrupt something huge because Instagram is responsible for a new generation of photographers that are called iPhonographers or smartphone photographers because they're Android lovers or Samsung can get mad at me for saying that. But they are called iPhonographers. I know a few people that shoot everything and create very nice, crisp commercial visuals with just iPhones. ف- I think they are thinking of disrupting something, and I think with the new reels and the new trend that TikTok made and Instagram is is diverting a small part into it, uh, will disrupt this field, will disrupt change in the way we perceive content. But they're just faster than YouTube, you know.
Yeah, yeah, I get your point. So, speaking more about the social media, not Instagram specifically, but you know that for photographers, they use social media most of the time, connecting with fans, promoting the work, and marketing. So, how can a photographer balance between promoting his work and being available on the social media, and between not being sucked into this online dilemma of hateful posts or comments, or being an algorithm slave, or all these negative sides of the social media? So how can you have this balance as a photographer, especially if you have a family or you need to practice any kind of other hobbies?
Okay, let me tell you, I'm not an expert again on that manner, but I'll tell you my rules of engagement with social media. By the way, I'm a person that's glued to his phone, and I play in my phone all the time. I text, I juggle between business apps and social media apps and all that. But I'll tell you that one thing that I do that doesn't let this social media octopus suck me into the regular wormhole. Instagram is not allowed to push notifications on my phone. That's it. So because I've been in that on that platform, and I'll say Instagram because this is where I'm most active, and this is where you find most of my work. I developed a sense of my timelines, so I know when my content is best shown. So I have this regular time slot that I usually post in. I have my story in the morning. I go to work. Instagram is doesn't push notifications to my phone, and then I open it midday, and then I go home and open it and post maybe and do that. But it's not allowed to push notifications on my phone. So you don't have X and Y and Z liked my picture, X shared your reel. I don't know who replied to what. When I want, I go fetch it. I keep my time to the activities that are sometimes they're productive and sometimes they're not. It's normal. I play games all the time with my phone. It's I'm a human في الآخر فاهم. I'm
Yeah,
not a very exact person that knows how to deal. لا خالص. I found my hack. I hacked my way, sorry, into knowing how I can survive and give time to my work, my family, my friends, myself.
yeah, perfect. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So thank you, Taimour, for sharing this insightful tips with us on how to manage the social media. So moving forward now, in the past couple of years, COVID have taken the work and everything changed upside down in the whole world. So how did COVID affect you as a photographer? And what did 2020 teach you as a photographer and as a human?
Ooh, a lot, and the most important and positive part of it was work from home. I've been telling my partner and my friend, big brother Osman, since 2013 that I work best when I'm away. I know it's not right, and I know I have a team, and I know all that. But I'm talking about Taimour on his own. خلاص. My creative juice gets developed or gets enriched more when I'm away. So working from home or working remotely helped me a lot in in my creative process. برضو I live in a country where commuting from point A to point B can take up to 45 minutes on a good day. So back and forth, I'm losing 1 hour and a half. So when I work remotely, I go to stay maybe in Sokhna, maybe in Guna, maybe in whatever. I don't have this problem. I wake up, I work, I close my laptop, I go to a place, I'm fine. I win these hour and a half. I win my peace of mind from the traffic, and you have to be alert all the time because people are putting their cars in front of yours and you might have an accident and all that. On a positive note, Corona or COVID 19 helped people develop the understanding of you can and you will work remotely and it's fine and there's no problem and you have to manage and all that. On the negative side, and which had an impact, is how it affected business. Everybody's struggling. Everybody had problems on a personal or yani. I'm not saying it's easy, by the way, because I know people that have had some very intense psychological issues because they were trapped. They felt they were trapped so much, so they couldn't breathe. آم، فلا يعني on that business level or that personal human more level, it had good things and it had bad things. From a travel photography aspect, there was no travel, so there's no photography. So we had to work with what we had. Uh, so when I went diving in COVID, I was surprised. I was amazed on how the reefs and everything picked up and wasn't impacted, and it started breathing. Yani, فاهم? I can't say there's something positive or something negative, but here there are something positive things, and on the other hand, there's a lot of negatives, and I think they're balancing itself out. I don't want to say the quotes of the earth is breathing and all that. لا خالص. I'm just saying it had good sides and it had bad sides, but I'm a very optimistic person, يعني, in inside of me. So I tend to always look at what was positive.
So, Taimour, you know, this podcast is called Photopian Shots, and Photopian is the utopian photographer. So, can you tell us, for you, what are the three characteristics of a utopian shot? And what are the three characteristics of a utopian photographer?
Well, to me, a utopian shot is a shot that amazes me, and two things amaze me: sharks or underwater, and astrophotography. So the character, yeah, it's not a characteristics per se, but having guts in going into the water and into someone else's territory and peeking and taking your shot. I don't know, courage, heart. مش عارف. بجد مش عارف يعني.
Exploring new areas unexplored, maybe.
Yeah,
Bravery,
maybe.
like as you said, taking a risk. Like you took a risk
Yes.
diving with a shark, so it's a risk.
When I learned about sharks, I learned it's not a risk. يعني you wouldn't say going and standing in front of a German Shepherd is a risk, right? Because we understand how a dog works. We understand how this animal works. Sharks are misunderstood, so you don't understand how they function. So you're always, يعني, you just don't understand. So there, يعني, people don't. Not you. I'm talking about the the general population. I mean, they don't understand sharks. They got Steven Spielberg's poster in mind, and that Jaws is a very bad person, and it causes. يعني, I get a lot of, oh my god, you try to dive with sharks, you're crazy. I'm like, guys, you have dogs, you have a pit bull. How am I crazy? We are crazy and as crazy as each other. And also, pit bulls are misunderstood. Yani, pit
Animals,
bulls,
animals that are different,
yeah,
like or not common to see, or
or branded differently.
yeah, 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 yeah.
pit bulls, they're branded as fight dogs and مش عارف ايه. And actually in I think Great Britain, they used to call them babysitting dogs. They used to put the baby as a newborn right next to a pit bull, and لو راجل تقرب.
Yeah, yeah. I get your point. So Taimour, back to the question you answered, what is the utopian photographer? So can you let us know what is for you the utopian shot?
Okay, my utopian shot is usually يعني is usually, as I told you, the shots that I went to different places, or maybe I went to a crazy adventure to get the shot. So actually, they are two or three. One is that shark picture that I told you about, and how you can see and understand this creature and his activity levels and his relaxation by what's happening is around him. To me, this is one shot. The second shot is a Milky Way shot, just the Milky Way, very focused, no foreground, no background, fully the Milky Way. And I was amazed not because of this picture, but because of this trip. Because I went to a place that had no light pollution, and we sat there. We waited till the Milky Way was in a very high place in the rotation, Earth rotation, and we saw the Milky Way clearly as we see everything around us. I could see it نور يعني اهو. ف it was برضو يعني very mesmerizing, and I was very amazed of how small things we don't tend to feel are there and amazing يعني. And you can see the Milky Way, but the problem you have pollution and you have
Yeah,
light, so it's those two factors خلاص you don't see that. يعني to me, I wish that one day I can see the pyramids with the Milky Way. I know it's impossible, because if you fix the light, there's a pollution problem, and if you fix the pollution, there's a light problem. So I think I will work on fixing the pollution, and let's hope the light fixes itself.
yeah, hopefully. So Taimour, for you, who was your Photopian photographer or utopian photographer that inspired you the most when you started? And now who inspires you the most?
It's still the same person, frankly. And at first, because I didn't know what was my favorite photography style, and I'm a comic crazy fan. So Michael Muller to me is beyond. And then when I started diving and I started following Michael Muller and seeing what he do and what he does and ta ta ta, then I realized that he's a very aggressive shark advocate, and that he does excursion and does this and does that to help raise awareness about our sharks. If I used to love this guy like he was my top, now there's nobody ever that can come close. You know, the guy shoots Marvel, everything from Marvel. He shoots epic portraits for epic people. And then on top of that, you're a shark advocate. Man, you won me for life.
Oh,
Yani, not talking about I don't like people who use flash, by the way. I like everything natural, everything as raw as possible. But Michael Murray can do
yeah.
whatever he wants.
So speaking about the utopian shots, can you share with us a couple of your utopian shots and stories behind them?
Uh, okay. Uh, يعني I will tell you, I'm very harsh on myself in very forms. So even my wife always tells me this is a very good picture. I'm like, no, you can see there's this small part that's not okay. She tells me people will like it. You're the only one that probably see it in the whole world. The ones I'm happy with are the ones I told you about, and I will share them with you. But to me, the utopia comes from maybe a couple of things that I see, and I create a concept around. So I have this in Egypt. There's this famous saying called "Ta'ashab shay." Ta'ashab shay means "come drink with me tea." So to me, this concept of the cup of tea, not a specific picture, okay? The concept of the tea is very powerful because it removes all boundaries between any socioeconomic class, and it's very raw. So the porter can tell you ta'ashab shay and he will give you a very good cup of tea because it doesn't cost him nothing. So the richest, most powerful person can be drinking tea, the same tea that this porter is drinking, and they can sit and talk heart to heart over this cup of tea. And also, how I'll tell you how powerful this cup of tea is. That there's this very famous word called مش هنشرب شاي بالياسمين, which means we won't drink tea with jasmine, and it's a way for saying please give me something as a request for help or as a request
Doing a
for bribe
favor,
maybe.
bribe, giving money, doing something
Yes.
for.
So the cup of tea is very full. It has the negative and the positive and the balance and the equality and everything in this very small cup of tea.
One final question before we get to the quick round of questions. So, how can you see photography changing the community and helping different causes and giving back to people?
Ooh, okay. Uh, Let me be very systematic on the answer here. Photography helped a lot of people in our Egyptian community know their worth or know the creative side they work in. Because in Egypt, you're either two things: you're either a doctor or an engineer. If other than this, you they consider you as a college dropout. So I have a lot of photography friends that are dentists. They finished the 5 years and then they said, you know what, we're not continuing. So photography gave people a voice or a tool to run away and make a good living and use this part of the brain more than that part, you know? I think it helped develop our country in a lot of manners on how it changed the society or how it can help the society. It's used mostly to highlight a problem, highlight something good, highlight something bad, and for the people that can help, let's fix. As I told you, my campaign, Clean Your Mess, was used from a photography form. I used to take very good shots of the sea with a cup, plastic cup that has cigarette butts. So there's this contrast between, oh, this is a good picture, but it has a problem. Von Wong created this amazing campaign with plastic bottles, with mermaids and sea waves, with very well sorted, colored plastic bottles to highlight the problem that plastic is causing this to the ocean. So photography is helping in a good way and in a bad way. As I told you in the campaign, This is Egypt, and how the anti-campaign was built on images, images, images. It can be it's a double sword, it's a double bladed sword kind of tool.
So now, Taimour, we've come to the final quick round of questions. I ask you a quick question, you answer quickly. You don't think twice about it, okay?
Okay, okay, okay.
Ready? Okay.
Ready.
Sony or Fuji?
Sony,
Canon or Nikon?
Canon,
A trip to Cape Town or a trip to Havana, Cuba?
Cuba,
A cup of coffee under the moon in the desert or a cup of coffee on top of a mountain with a sunset?
desert.
One app only you can keep for the rest of your life.
Facebook.
One setting,
Sorry. Instagram. Sorry. I
oh,
want to tell you not Facebook,
not
but
Facebook.
it's Instagram. Not Facebook.
One setting only on the camera that you can change while shooting.
Manual.
Okay.
I can't change
One setting only you can change while shooting with your camera. Exposure, white balance, shutter, focus. One thing only.
that I can
You
change
can change.
aperture.
An underwater shoot with sharks or an early morning sunrise
Sharks.
shoot over a
Sharks.
mountain.
Sharks.
Sharks,
Sharks.
sharks all
Sharks.
the way. Sharks all the way.
Sharks.
American coffee or Turkish coffee?
Turkish.
RAW or JPEG?
Raw.
If you were not a photographer, you would be,
Explorer.
yeah, definitely
Cook.
a cook.
My wife is saying cook. This is the side that people don't see, but yeah, I do cook.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Lightroom or Capture One?
Lightroom, of course. Foot Adobe all the way, man.
Yeah. Camera with a touch screen or camera with a flip screen?
Doesn't matter to me, frankly.
Yeah.
Touch screen, maybe. I don't. I any. It's not. It was never something that I have both. You know, if I think touch screen, maybe flip is okay, but I don't use it a lot. I use it for protection. You know, I flip the screen and
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
I use it mostly as a touch screen.
Yeah. Prime or zoom?
Prime.
So, Taimour, if you wear a lens, what lens would you be and why?
16 to 35 2.8 because it has a wider POV and most closed focal length is extremely it's how we see everything. The 35, it's normal,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So, one final question. Taimour, today we are in 2121. Someone goes to an old antique store, he finds an old USB reader with a memory card in it. He opens the memory card, he finds photos of someone called Taimour Othman along with a Word document that has only one sentence. What would that sentence be?
Sentence, okay, that's
Yeah.
good.
A phrase, a
Go out,
sentence. Yeah.
go out, or maybe don't believe what people tell you, go see. So it's a quote that I found recently, and I realized how it resonates with me because even when people tell me this peak is amazing and this peak is good, I have to go see what I have to prove what they're saying. فاهم قصدي؟
Yeah.
I think this quote resonates with me very much.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not my quote. That's why I
Yeah.
have to be very
Yeah. Yeah.
clear with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's how I see things. It's how I handle. Yani, this dive site is better than this dive site. This peak is better than this peak. This desert is better than this desert. I have to go try it,
Yeah.
and then I'll have my own Taimour Othman say. فاهم؟ And we're different. So you can like something, I can like. People like Canon. I like Sony. People like Nikon. Other like Fuji. It's normal. It's okay. It's fine. No one is better than anyone because what matters is the person who's holding the camera,
Yeah. Yeah.
not the tool.
I fully understand. So, Taimour, thank you so much for your time, for opening up about your work, about your career. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Mina, for having me. It was an absolute honor. The questions were very nice, very eye-opening to a lot of things.
Thank you. So please, everyone, make sure to follow Taimour work on his Instagram and Facebook and website. Make sure to check his campaign of This is Egypt and roamegypt, both on Instagram, for some photos from all over Egypt, many ideas to explore this amazing country. I hope you enjoyed this episode from the Photopian Shots with Taimour as much as I did. Please, if you like this episode, hit the like button, subscribe so that you can get news about coming episode with more and more Photopian photographers. Have a great day.